The YB49 and the XB35. Last I left off, I was basically doing sub-assemblies, and I was working on the XB35, and I was test fitting the fuselage, and I noticed that the YB fuselage, that one, which the YB has jet engines, was in the XB35 box, and the XB35 fuselage was in the YB45 box. So after I figured that out, went in and just basically built the cockpit for the YB49, which is the same, identical as the XB35, and there you have it. I did paint the cockpit on the inside, which is Tamiya cockpit green. I did it on the same thing on the XB35 here. Even did the top on the bomber back in here. And if you notice, I went in and put a little bit of a wash, and that's just water paint, or you can use the detailer, and just to give it a little bit of shading, because once you put the fuselage together, you can't see hardly anything at the back. So that's why I never spend a whole lot of time on the cockpit, because if you can't see it, you know, why spend hours painting a cockpit when, you know, the shadows and everything are gonna take control. Even if you get in the light, you can barely see anything. So I did get that accomplished, got the cockpits painted and got wash on them. So now I'm going to get the fuselages together. It's not the greatest fit, as you can see, but that's why they make clamps. So what I'm doing is just gluing a little bit here and there, clamping down, and then I'll just work my way around on both fuselage. I wanted to show everyone what the inside looked like before I actually closed up and continue on. Half-ass painted the propellers, which I'll put one more coat where my finger's been holding it. Get that painted, and then hopefully get the fuselages together, and then get the wings attached, and then I can go in and do some sanding on the wing tips and a few other little places. But it's not a whole lot of sanding on this, as it appears. It just doesn't fit extremely good, but that's just part of the course. But anyway, that is where I stand on the YB and the XB35. The Eaglemoss. I am done with the Equinox and the Defiant one. The NX, I'm pretty much done. I was going to scribe the lines and everything on the inside of the pylons. It's actually, I ain't going to do it for... it's more of, if I try to do any more to it, I may screw it up, and I don't want to break it or destroy it after I did it. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it the way it is. It's just a simple little conversion, and so that's just what I'm going to do. I did get most of everything touched up, even on the bottom. Did the JJ Enterprise and converted it into basically a Korolev class, which is basically the engines are on the bottom here, and all I did was whack off the nacelles on the struts here, cut down the struts, and got them glued onto the bottom of the saucer. Willer wanted a Reliant or a runabout roll bar on here. I went with the Reliant one. I think it looks better. And went back in and touched up the paint. Now I gotta be honest here, when I touch up the paint, I found the right color, but it dries basically a shade darker. I mean, it's once you hit it in a certain light, you can see it, and when you hit it in a different way, it's gone. It's just the way it is. It's going to be. I did kind of add a little bit of the Aztec pattern just to kind of cover it up, but anyway, it gets the name registry off, so that is what I am doing. One thing I am not going to do on the Eaglemoss conversions, and that is I'm not going to add putty. Now when I say that, I will add AB's epoxy sculpt for building and making it sturdy and adding some detail, but I will not make it a red putty bomb. It's just not worth it, and it'll actually, the more putty you put on it, it'll basically kill the project because you'll be tired of sanding it. That's just the way it is. But anyway, I will trim stuff down and kit bash some stuff on it and keep it very simple and keep some of the design on it. You know, not, when I say design, keeping it very simple and not cut up the entire model where you need a complete sawing mill to cut up the saucer and everything. But anyway, just going to keep it simple. But that is where I stand on the Eaglemoss. I am going to finish these up today. These will be shipped out next week, and then we're going to start some new Eaglemoss ones, which looks something like that. And I will do some, and there's some other ones too, like a Voyager and a Sovereign class combined. There's just a bunch of different ones, so I'll knock these out later on in due time. So that's what I got going on today. We got the Eaglemoss conversions, we got the Flying Wing, the YB49, and the XB39. Hopefully get them assembled so I can continue on with those. So stay tuned for the next exciting episode.